I'm Jason from Smoking and Drinking in Space, a sci-fi podcast from a couple guys who think they know sci-fi.
And I'm Rob from Smoking and Drinking in Capes, a superhero podcast from a couple guys who wish they had powers.
And we're part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now.
Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others.
And you can find other cool, awesome, geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Howard Mackie, and this is Capes on the Couch.
Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Dr. Issues is a psychiatrist, but he is not your psychiatrist and does not have knowledge of your individual situation. For any personal mental health concerns, please consult your own healthcare providers. For medical emergencies, please call 911 or the designated number in your area immediately. Remember that you are not alone and help is out there.
Hello and welcome back to Capes on the Couch, where comics get canceling. I'm Anthony Sitko.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
It is so good to be back. We are here returning for season 12 officially. And it's been a lot going on. How have you been, Doc?
I'm okay. Now that I'm dealing with a teenager in my house.
Yes, you are. That's right. Yep. Little mini Doc is officially 13. It's nuts. I remember when she was born.
Wow. Now you're making me feel ancient.
Yeah, that was at my last job. I remember that. I almost made a really, really dark joke. I'm trying to figure out how to comment on the ongoing saga that is my personal life. And I was going to be like, well, it was before I was married. And this episode is being recorded almost after I'm married, because one of the reasons why we kind of fell off a little bit and we didn't have a formal announcement as I'm going through some personal issues in my life, namely the end of my marriage. No papers have been filed yet, but we are approaching that standpoint. So I've posted about it in our Discord, and many, many thanks to all of the fans and friends and just family members and everybody who's reached out to support me through this. It's amicable, overwhelmingly, or for the most part, I would say. And so it's just been, something that we're working on. So in the event that in the future there needs to be a little bit more of a gap or a short break taken, just understand that it's because, again, I'm going through some stuff and I'm trying not to let that impact the show too much. But such as it is, that's where we are. And in any case, we're gonna forget all of that for right now, because we are starting off the season the same way we ended the last one, by talking to Alan and Will. Welcome back, dudes.
Well,
hell of a segue.
Great segue. Love it. Now I'm bummed.
That is pretty impressive. Yeah, that's a good
Guys, please understand, we're not talking about negative things. We are just talking about hell.
Okay, so as we all know, the 2024 election happened. Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about something different?
Oh,
yeah. Well, I mean,
we are. Wow.
We can edit that out. That's fine.
No. It's not even that. I'm just like,
oh no, we finna keep that in.
Yeah. I'm saying, like, are we getting canceled before we get started? That's amazing.
It's been a hell of a year between episodes. It's like how they say it's been a hell of a year this week. Yeah, that's one of those deals.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a year, and January's not over.
Yeah.
January's still going on.
It's true. Yep. Yeah. Longest January ever.
Yeah. What does not have a ton of time is the Kickstarter for Horus into Hell 3, which is ending on February 11th.
Is that when I have it ending? I don't remember.
I'm on the site right now, and it says this project will only be funded if it reaches its goal by Tuesday, February 11th. And let me tell you, it has well surpassed its goal. And first off, congratulations on demolishing the goal in the first 24 hours. I think 24 hours in, you had a $2,000 goal and you raised like $7,400.
I don't even remember. Like, it's crazy how fast, like, we're checking it pretty like rapidly, but
that F5 key is getting worn down.
Dude. Oh yeah. The craziest thing about the whole thing though is our biggest campaign to date was Horus #1, and we had like $10,500 on that one. Mm-hmm. And this one hit that within 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. As of the recording,
Heavens.
as of the recording, you're at 12,600.
People love Horus.
Yeah.
He's hard not to love at this point.
Okay, and then I think that's the interview, right? We're done. Are we all just? This is a short episode.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
the update. Yeah. Here's the update. It's been a while. Anthony's getting divorced and people love Horus and they're paying you a lot of money to read the next book.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. Good night.
Everyone have a good one. No, but yeah. So
Try to survive, y'all.
obviously working on Horus has been always amazing, and the crowd response is always so great. And we've talked about this so many times, and it's so funny. And Anthony and Doc, I think we talked about it with you guys, like with Pocus Hocus, and even with Grandma Chainsaw. Like, we sat down and mapped out everything that we were going to do. We knew exactly where we were going and all this stuff, and the who, what, when, where, why for all the characters. And Horus were like, let's just have, and then it just takes off.
But I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful thing, because can you imagine if we had, like, the one thing that's universally true about this is that we love writing this comic, and we love writing these characters. Can you imagine if we had hit the jackpot on something that we hated?
Oh God, that'd have been terrible.
Like I feel like we're really lucky in the sense that I feel like I was watching Larry David interview a while back about Seinfeld when he talks about, like, he did a few episodes just for the hell of it. That's kind of how they designed the show, and then they ended up getting picked up, and he was just like, oh my God, how am I going to do like 100 more of these? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was never the case. We just kind of like started it to kind of get it out of our system, because Horus was, really cool character. People loved him. And we were like, hey, what can we do to sort of add on to this and, create that, his point of view on things. And then it turned into something even bigger than what we thought it would be.
So you brought up a really good point, because as creators, you can fall victim to this pretty easy, where the fans of the series, they're so passionate about stuff, like, because we've had really good responses for Pocus Hocus, and people were asking for a standalone Horus story, right? And it was one of those things where you don't know how it's going to go, because people can ask for stuff and then they just don't show up for it. But we got very lucky with the support that's shown up for this thing. We see more support for this than we do for the series it came from.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how that works. Although I don't think it's entirely unheard of in the canon of, would it be safe to say in the comic book canon that sometimes, spin-offs or things that get developed using characters from the original end up being bigger than the original? I know that happens in television, So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we're still lucky because we love doing it. And I don't think either one of us could have predicted this. This was never, I just want to be clear about something, and Alan can back me up on this. This was never started as something that we expected to get a lot of, like, rake in a lot of cash or money from. It was just like, people really liked this character. We liked the character. And so we were like, yeah, screw it. Let's see what happens, And we've approached every issue that way, I think, because and it's very different from writing Pocus and Grandma Chainsaw, because as humorous as those can get sometimes, they are very, very strategically mapped out. This isn't so much, but I mean, maybe that's why, maybe our enthusiasm when we write it is shining through and people kind of pick up on that. I don't know. But
maybe we're trying too hard is what Will's saying.
No, I mean, not, I just think that when it comes to creativity and just art in general, sometimes if you are really enthusiastic about what you're making, that sort of by default transfers over into the viewer, reader, whoever's looking at what you're doing. So,
right.
Absolutely. And we say that constantly on the show. Every time we interview you, the passion and the enjoyment that you have in writing these characters, and it comes through in all of your stories, but the fun that you have bleeds through every word, every panel, every page. And not just the writing, but also the artwork. All credit to Kit on this series to make this just fun and kinetic and colorful I mean, I love just the tagline, on the Kickstarter that you've used from the start, a demented Saturday morning cartoon. And
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how else to really sum it up.
That's pretty. I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. That's how we write it anyway.
Yeah. And as I said, that comes through. And it is well deserved that you have the response that you've gotten on this. And then hopefully the success continues to carry over to your other campaigns. And you just continue to grow and get more and more success. And I realized, by the way, as we're, several minutes into this, that we never actually started off with any kind of introductions or
Yeah, I was gonna say we unfortunately, well, it's a good thing, but also it makes it a little sloppy for us because we love talking to you guys, and that makes it really easy. But we have to recognize that we have listeners, and some of them may not know as much as we were assuming. So, yeah.
Okay, let's take it from
for
the top.
For the handful of folks that may not have caught on to who Alan and Will are and haven't listened to the 7, 8, 9 times y'all have been on the series previously, just give us a little background about who you are and what you do and why it is that we've had you on as many times as we have. Please let my family go. I swear. Okay.
Yeah. So I am a safari survival specialist, and I couldn't resist throwing that out there. Alan, I'll let you.
Okay, yeah, I'm Alan. Co-writer, creator, Grandma Chainsaw, Horus and Hell, Pocus Hocus, and then just some other comic book endeavors as well. Yeah, I mean, Will and I we strive for the wild and crazy, and we have been best friends since high school. And we both started this comic book endeavor in 2020 when COVID first happened, and we were trying to do our best to not go crazy. So then I just called Will up and asked him if he wanted to write a comic, and he was like, "Yeah." And then here we are. Will, your turn.
Well, I'm Will. I'm the co-writer on Horus and Hell and Hocus Hocus and Grandma Chainsaw and all that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, Alan pretty much summed it up. We've been really good friends since high school. We have always, I feel like, had to view things through a similar lens, creatively and realistically, like in life. And yeah, I think a lot of what makes the comic medium so great for what we do together is that it allows us to take personalities and perspectives and things like that we've just seen over the years, and we've sort of found mutually fascinating, and that might be sort of larger than life, and people we encounter and different things like that, and put that to the page. So yeah, it's been an awesome journey so far, and I'm looking forward to many more comics and all that good stuff.
So I have a logistics question about all of this because Anthony and I have had the pleasure of reading so many of the things you've written as you guys have matured in terms of what you do, or rather lack of maturity, whatever. I find it fascinating that you're this prolific, and I wonder, how do you parse out, for example, something like Horus versus how much time you dedicate to Pocus? Like, that's got to be a real juggling act, because these things do take a while to produce. They take a while to fund. I mean, how do you just manage all of that?
It's just kind of second nature, right? Like, I'll call Will up and I'll say, "Hey, let's go ahead and start hammering out the script for whatever we're working on." And then he'll come over, we'll hang out, we'll have coffee, we'll put on a movie in the background while we do it, and we'll just finish this. Well, it's like a 3-day process, I think, for really getting the script right. And then we go over it once for kind of like quick grammatical errors, but we really do all of our editing, our big editing, once we start lettering, because sometimes what we have on the page doesn't translate to the artwork that we're looking at. So that's when we really do it. But no, like I said, I guess from where it's, I don't want to, I hate using the phrase second nature, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. It just, when you find that person that you spark with creatively, it's hard to explain.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's kind of ironic that we've known each other for so long, and it took us this long to write something together, because I have been actively, like, I mean, I remember in school and in college, I loved to write, and I loved the idea of having a writing partner, and I used to like go to all these different friends who also like to write, and we would try and do stuff together, and it just didn't work out because we just weren't on the same page, or we didn't think the same way, or whatever. And immediately, like him and I, like the first time we started working on this stuff, like we immediately, it just kind of took off.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that's not an easy thing to find, and I like to I'm only half joking when I say this. I think that, like, Alan is the brains behind the operation, and then I'm the intuition. And this is very strange because, like, anytime I've written a screenplay or a story or a novella, anything like that, I will sit down and I will outline and map out the hell out of it. And it's like Alan kind of comes to me and he has everything already figured out and sort of lined out, and then I'll come over and we'll start working. And it just effortlessly happens, because I know sometimes driving over to work with you, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be a disaster at this writing session. I have no good ideas for this today, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I'll get there, and immediately, as soon as we start talking, it just all falls into place.
Yeah.
And that's something you can't predict or deliberately find. I feel like it's something that happens and that you're lucky enough to be able to do. So.
And with that, I didn't expect to feel seen. But Anthony, I don't know how you feel, but wow.
I feel seen and called out, and I'm here for it. Honestly, I definitely know a thing or two about that dynamic. Yeah. As the brains, I know.
So
I know the dynamic.
So
I just may not be able to feel the dynamic.
The thing about that is, and a little bit about our show and how the sausage gets made, when we do our episodes with character analysis, there is definitely writing involved with the scripts and things like that. And so we've been doing this short form for a long time, but the whole point of this entire podcast originally had nothing to do with a podcast. It was supposed to be a freaking book.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
we make this joke, once again, half joking. If we had just done the damn book in the first place, it would have been done a long time ago. Instead of hundreds of podcasts. Come on, man.
I think it's funny because, I mean, like Alan and I, if we in the past, if we've ever been talking about doing something creatively before we did this, before we started Hocus Hocus or any of the comic books, I feel like it always manifested like as a movie idea.
It did. Because film was our first mistress, right?
Right. And it was like, let's work on this screenplay or sketch comedy. That was the big one for us. I remember we would talk about,
dude, laughing so hard.
Yeah.
The stupid stuff we'd come up with.
That should have been the indication, I think, that we were kind of just built as a unit, like together to work on something that's serialized.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, we don't know anything about that, right, Doc? No, it's not like we ever sat down and tried to write a movie together.
Nah, not like I've read multiple scripts and, whole things that in theory might have been pitched to some people.
It is, in all fairness.
I'm not even talking about the Moon Knight thing. I'm talking about straight up just you and me.
Talking about the Moon Knight.
No. She's talking about, man. At one point, wasn't it called Dudes? Like, there was that other thing. Like, we had so many.
We really did.
Like, yeah.
It was basically going to be almost like live action Family Guy in the sense of like cutaways.
Yeah.
And jokes, very kind of Naked Gun.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes,
humor.
For sure.
Very, very much in that vein of, Zucker Brothers, like Airplane, Naked Gun style, wacky, slapstick, and just so many things going on.
I miss those.
that was in college. We wrote some of that stuff, and shortly thereafter, there was. So all this to say, I don't know anything about what you're talking about. This is a foreign concept, and I'm so glad you're able to explain this to me because it's not anything I could conceptualize or wrap my head around.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I have a question related to the Kickstarter itself. Man, oh man, you guys have always had some great things that, are potentially included, but oh my goodness, these like little figurines. Whose idea was that?
It was mine.
Yeah, that was all Alan. Yeah, for sure.
So early on, whenever we saw the success of Horus 1, of course, Will and I, our cogs start turning, and we start thinking like, man, it's going to be great if we could ever. Well, I mean, I think we kind of thought this with Pocus, was like, if we could ever get Pocus turned into a TV show, like that would be so awesome, it'd be so much fun, blah, blah, blah. And then whenever we started working on Horus, we were like, God, this guy's so adorable. Like having like an actual cartoon would be great, or like plushies would be awesome. So then we kind of sat on it a little bit, and then I thought, well, I guess let's go for it. So it was a risk, and I'm happy we did it because the risk is paid off. You don't know how this is going to go. So you have to find like certain manufacturers and stuff like that will do made to order, especially finding good manufacturers that will do made to order, because I have to go in expecting we're only going to sell one, right? Because that's one of the reasons why we've never done plushies, was because all the good quality plushies that we found, you have to order like at least like 250. And we always pride ourselves on quality. Well, I found a really good quality printer and a really good toy designer for these. So these aren't 3D printed. These are high quality resin ones that are built kind of like, if you guys have ever seen the Sideshow collectibles, those statues, whenever you get shipped, they come in a flat box and it's magnetic pieces. So that way they're easier to put together and all that stuff. So the Horus figures are like that. The heads are magnetic, so the heads are interchangeable. And all the weapons and accessories that come with them are also made to where you can switch those out as well. So we're kind of trying to make stuff that's like an evergreen toy line, so we can release other things later and you can kind of plug and play. But with that long-winded answer being said, we decided let's try to amp it up a little bit and see what we can do. Like Horus is a proven property, so let's go for it. And yeah, here we are.
Love it, and very much looking forward. I've got a sideshow. I think you can see it up there in the corner of my screen. That Captain America, I think, is a sideshow, and the arms are magnetic.
Yeah,
it's again to I guess for shipping and
100%. Yeah, so shipping, you can take it down, stuff like that. But so like the big inspiration for these were actually the Disney Doorables. If you guys have ever seen those, they're like these little. Okay, so Doc, you probably own stock in them. So it's like these like chibi figures that just are Disney IP. So that was kind of like the big inspiration, because with Kit's artwork, it kind of already did itself, right? Like we didn't need to really conceptualize like, how do we shrink Horus down? How do we make him have big eyes, and how do we make him look cute, right? And cool at the same time in these figures. Like I said, the work was kind of already done.
Yeah. I think we absolutely, Kit deserves some credit for that, because his take on Horus is and not discredit. I love how we have two different visually, like two different Horuses, and they're both equally charming and equally funny within the context of their own different worlds and sort of within their own contexts, I guess. But gosh, there's just something about him as an artist and the way he designs characters and creates them. It just like his vision and his like world that he inhabits when he works is just blows my mind. I'm really in love with it, especially since when it comes to, naturally, just on a basic level, I can barely draw a stick figure. I've been all of these artists, from day one. But just starting, that's been the biggest like learning thing for me throughout all this, is seeing the different styles and approaches and things like that. And he really just created this perfect world for us to do this kind of thing with, I think, in the context of a Kickstarter or merchandise or anything that we want to, work on like that.
Again, his artwork absolutely lends itself to that very toyetic almost style that it definitely, as you said, it's just very easy. And then another thing that, since I was one of the early backers, thank you to Alan for texting me the day before to say, hey, it's going live tomorrow. So I could get on that. The Horus box that basically contains kind of everything, which I don't need all like the past stuff because we've got everything beforehand. But I was just like, I want the box and I want the figures.
Yeah, that was we did so that was something a little bit different we did this time. So of course you can still buy all the stuff individually because again, one of our big tenets when we started this thing was we never wanted to strong arm anybody or have anyone feel like they have to buy like the big tier before they can get everything else, right? So we made a 72-hour exclusive early backer box. So we set it up to where you can get a bunch of the stuff from issue 3's campaign, and you also get a copy of issue 1 and issue 2. So that way we didn't alienate anybody in it. And it was for like this big discounted rate and stuff. But the big thing was it had the collector's box and it had the toys in it.
And then, as you usually do, you've got a number of variant covers. So we've got obviously the regular cover by Kit Wallace. You have the cover by Brian Bellondo, very known entity among fans of your prior work. Edward Bentley. I like the very clean style, very cartoony. How'd you hook up with Edward?
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say I'm a big fan of Edward's work.
Yeah. What was the first cover he did for us, Will?
The first cover.
Was it Pocus 3? Was that the first Edward cover we had?
I can't remember, but I can't remember the first one, but I just
it was it was the one where the tie spelled out Pocus Hocus.
Yeah. That was it. Yeah, no, I remember.
I don't remember what book it was, but yeah, Edward's done probably like 3 or 4 covers for us now at this point. Edward's awesome. He's fun, dude. Ironically, we actually had that cover since issue 2 for Horus. Yeah, we weren't able to use it for the first one for Horus 2 because we already had way too many covers. So we just held on to it and then just released it with the next one.
And then the last one, cover D, this gorgeous Mignola homage by Dave Lentz.
Yeah, our letterer and designer. Yeah.
It is beautiful. Now, did he decide to do the Hellboy homage, or was that your?
No,
how did that come about?
Yeah, he just mentioned it. He just said, "Hey, I can draw a Hellboy cover if you guys want." And it was like, I didn't even know you could draw. And he said, "Yeah, I can do a Mignola homage cover." And it's just like, okay, we'll see. Like you just try it out. And then it looked almost identical because he did it for Horus 1, 2, and 3, and of course he'll do it for Horus 4. So that way you can have like the complete set together. Yeah, Dave's nuts. He always surprises us with all the crap he does.
Multi-talented.
Yes, very.
I think that also says a lot about the people you work with in that they're comfortable enough to even put themselves out there like that. Not every person, regardless of how creative they think they are or how talented they think they are willing to just, do that and say, you know what, I want to contribute, not just in the way that you guys expect me to,
right.
But I want to add just that little extra, just that, just that part that lets you know that I do care not just as much about my work, but also about what you guys do. So let's just keep this train rolling.
Yeah, man. No, like I said, it turned out absolutely great. And this, again, like all the stuff on the Kickstarter aside, my favorite part is once you scroll down toward the bottom, you get 4 preview pages. And that's where you get to kind of hone in on. I think that the books just keep getting better as we go, because I think they get crazier as we go, which means everyone's in their element more. So we got all of our exposition out of the way. So now we're just going nuts.
For sure. I agree.
I know we talked a little bit about this earlier, and you mentioned that compared to some of your other series where you have things much more mapped out and defined, Grandma was a limited series and you had that very delineated and okay, that's going to be these 4 issues and then we're going to end the story here with obviously the option to return to the universe at a later time. But that story was kind of had a clear endpoint. And then Hocus which you said, again, you have meticulously mapped out.
Mhm.
Horus is, you said, much more loosey-goosey in that regard. But do you have an idea for a possible ending with this? Or is this just as it's going, we'll just come up with whatever it comes up with, and, hopefully we can kind of stick the landing?
So
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
two-part answer.
Right.
Right. Because yes, we have an ending for Horus in Hell.
Yes.
However,
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
more where that came from.
yeah. So after issue 4 is done with Horus, we actually start with the next series for Horus, which is Horus in Heaven.
Mhm.
That's right. I
So-
remember you mentioning
yeah.
that. Yep.
So that's where we're going there, and I can't wait, because whenever we were doing this thing, we're like, man, this is like so much fun, and then we got to talking about it, and then it was like, man, let's kind of set this up like Horus's Divine Comedy.
Right. It was like the more we talked about it, the more we figured out there was a logical extension there, like
Mhm.
where to go next.
Love it. So Horus in Hell ends at 4, and then we transition to Horus in Heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, since I'm on the Kickstarter and I'm looking about it, talk to me about Mostly Dead.
Okay, so
Alan, that's you and Kit.
Yeah, Kit, he reached out and he wanted to do a book that was based around this. And, he and we went ahead and went back and forth on it. And we've had these 8 pages done for about a year now. You just don't know when the right time is to really do anything, especially with all the projects that Will and I have together. And Kit is a very, very, very busy man. But yeah, so Mostly Dead, it's kind of like it's just a fun coming of age tale that blends our love for horror. Go figure, right? And it's about this boy named Nate whose parents die when he was very, very young, and he finds out that he can bring them back from the dead using a Necronomicon, essentially. And it's his journey with that and biting off more than what he can chew with that, because everything has a price.
It absolutely does. So this is, the 8-page preview, obviously, that's attached to this Kickstarter. And then when are you looking to launch? I'm assuming this is going to be another Kickstarter.
Yeah, it will be a Kickstarter, and I have no idea yet. We just want to go and get it out there first, just to kind of see, what people thought about it, how it would do, and then just kind of like gauge people's reactions, because again, you never know with this stuff, right?
Right.
So on that note, is this something that you envision potentially as a limited series, or would this be an ongoing?
Oh yeah, all 4 issues are already mapped out, and the script for 1 and 2 are already done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so similar to Grandma Chainsaw,
Mhm.
it's
4 issues. Yeah, it tells its story and it's done.
okay.
Yep.
All right. The next Kickstarter, I'm not trying to obviously, ignore the importance of what's going on with Horus 3, but I know that every time we speak, you guys always say that you know what your next project is, and you've got things kind of generally lined up. What's the next book? Are we going back to Pocus?
Yeah, we're going to do Pocus 7, and then we'll do Horus 4, and then we'll do Pocus 8, and then we'll finally get to Deacon Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I wasn't, it was funny. I was tempted. I'm like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't mention Deacon
Mhm.
Dan because it had been a while. So, okay.
Yeah, no, Deacon Dan is something that Will and I talk about every time we get together.
Some
And-
of the ideas are still simmering, to
Yeah.
touch.
Because we want to get funny, because we want to get Deacon Dan right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like this is
Yeah.
one of the ones we have to get right.
Because it's gone through so many different
Iterations. Definitely.
iterations.
Yep.
And
Each one more messed up than the last.
more
But
insane than the last. Yeah.
Yep.
You've been teasing this one for a while. This one has been,
Yeah.
shall we say, simmering
Yeah.
on
Yes.
low, like a good chili. You
Yeah.
gotta make sure it steeps.
So I quit smoking cigarettes on New Year's Day. But whenever Alan and I in the past would get together and write, sometimes I would go out for a smoke break, and Alan, being the courteous friend and co-writer that he is, would come out with me and just talk, just kind of shoot the shit. And we developed a lot of ideas for Deacon Dan in those smoke breaks, during those smoke breaks.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's a testament to our abilities or if it's a testament to our insanity, but like that's when we work on Deacon Dan. Like we don't, because like, well, it's funny because we'll be like, hey, I'm gonna have a smoke break. I'm like, okay, we'll go out there and we'll start talking about Deacon Dan. And then like, all right, ready to go back in? Yeah. And then we just go right back to the project that we're working on.
Yeah.
Okay, now I feel less seen because that is incredibly badass. The idea that you're working on a project and then you talk about your other project in between, like it breaks while you're still working on the other project. That's
Yeah. I mean, well, what's funny about it is that we didn't plan. I mean, we never planned it that way. It it's just what came up in conversation when I would go out and fire up a cigarette. But I mean, I'm going to miss the smoke breaks because, geez, we came up with a lot of really good, really good stuff for that.
Good material for old Dan.
Yeah.
Well, good on you for quitting. I know it is not an easy thing to do.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Dude, quitting smoking is so easy. He's done it dozens of times.
No, I have to. This is my second time, though. No, that is true. It is my second time.
He's got it this time. He's got it.
I picked it back up at my last job I had, which was particularly awful. I mean, it was. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm laughing about it because I like.
You know.
I know. I'm
not going to go into crazy details or anything, but it was bad enough to make me start smoking again. So for about 2 years and picked it back up, and I always just really, really hated that. And then I quit again, New Year's Day. So, but yeah, thank you. It's for anyone listening, if you're trying to quit smoking or you want to quit smoking, I promise you, because the big thing you think about is this has been a part of my life for so long. There's no way I can, that is a big thing with cigarettes as opposed to, I feel like, almost anything else. You totally can quit. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I will say that after the first, week or two, it is easier than you might be thinking that it is. So just to throw that out there.
Will's also a badass though too. So we got to keep that in mind.
Well, that's true. And I can't help it. Dr. Mode engaged. You don't have to answer this, but are you using any products to help you in terms of quitting?
Actually, so I went into it this time with that mentality. The first time I did it, it was cold turkey. And this time I went into it and I had some of the gum, the Nicorette or the nicotine gum or whatever it is. And occasionally there in the first few days when it would get really bad, I would have some of that. But I wasn't like popping that constantly or anything. And now I'm nothing. I mean, no gum, no cigarettes, nothing. The big thing with cigarettes is that so much of it is mental. The physical part of it is done within a week. But it's so I remember the first time I was hesitant to quit because I thought, how am I ever going to do this how am I going to have coffee again? I mean, cigarettes is the amazing combination of all time.
I hear you.
And I promise you that if you quit and you commit to quitting long enough and pull it off, coffee tastes even better without cigarettes. You know why? Because you get your sense of smell back and your sense of taste back. And
I didn't even think about that.
Yep. It really, there are pros. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. That is something that almost universally I've heard from every person I've met, every patient I've had that actually has stopped smoking where they wanted to stop smoking. So yeah, good. That's amazing. Good for you. And your lungs thank you. Your entire cardiovascular system thanks you. And I'm sure there'll be good things to come.
Yeah, my mom quit several years ago, and my dad quit several years before that. So I know, what it's like to struggle with quitting and have to go through the cravings and the withdrawals and everything. And having said all of that, I mean, to this day, the smell of certain cigarettes just takes me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
Dude, mine was
it's a weirdly nostalgic smell.
Swisher Sweets was what my grandpa smoked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think of my uncle, rest in peace. Like just oh man, and it wasn't related to the cigarettes at all. But yeah, just thinking at the time, I'm like, I know I'm gonna have limited time because he's smoking so much. But yeah, that's one thing though. I'll say like vices in general. It's not that they themselves in the moment are bad. It's just the thing that our human brains or any animal's brains don't do as well is the idea of long-term consequence when you do get an immediate reward. It would be different if there was nothing in the moment, but the fact that, doggone it, dopamine just hits so well.
Yeah, no, that's it. And we don't have to go down this rabbit hole. I'm just throwing this out here. If you need a better reason to quit, David Lynch,
Yes.
Who even, and I'm not, but they even said it a couple months before he passed. Said you can quit this, and you should, because there's a price to pay. So
Yep. I mean, again, as I said, the nostalgia smell, but all the Marlboro Ultralights in the world that, bring me back to my childhood, would rather have my mother. And I'm glad she quit, and I'm glad my father quit. And, it gives them a much better chance at things. So
holy crap. I just realized we actually did something beneficial for people.
For once.
Wow.
Not for once. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Give us some credit.
I'll give you guys all the credit in the world. You know that.
Right back at you, my friends. So we'll wrap this up then. So as we always say, where can folks find you on the internet? Where's your social media tags? I don't know if you're on some new ones. You've left some ones that, may not be worthy of sticking around with.
Oh, good Lord. So yeah, the best place to find us is honestly just follow us on Kickstarter and get in on our Substack.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on Instagram at WillRad82 is my handle. I don't know for how much longer, because I don't dig misinformation and propaganda. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And I would agree with Alan. If you want to find us, probably the best way to go is to seek out the Kickstarter and the creative projects.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, we are on, as of right now, we are still on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I refuse to call it X. And frankly, I don't know how much longer we're going to be on that. I've already taken down my personal account.
Yeah, at this point, and I know we hadn't discussed this ahead of time, Anthony, I think we ought to just say, you could search for us however you would typically try and find Capes on the Couch.
Yeah, whatever social media network you're on, look for us at Capes on the Couch, because wherever we are at this point, that's where we would be, is at Capes on the Couch. We're not on Blue Sky yet. We're not on some of those other alternatives. We're still on the major ones. But yeah, things are shifting around, and I'm not sure. And it's a double-edged sword. And, I was talking to friends about this, because on the one hand, you don't want to continue to support people that are going to use this platform, and certainly the money that they make off the platform, to hurt people. On the other hand, these networks existed before some of these people came on board, and you build communities and relationships and followings and stuff. And to some extent, it can become an active resistance to stay on and use the platform for good, provided you curate your feed and stuff. So
yeah, that's a good point.
It's a really good point.
I don't begrudge anybody who's left. I don't judge anybody that's made their decisions. Obviously, everybody has to do what works for them. To the extent that we're on networks, I just hope that folks don't view that as necessarily a co-signing some of the decisions of the platform owners or the platform representatives, that whatever they do with their free time is their prerogative. But we have always historically, and the show has been going on, close to 7 years at this point, we have always been judgment-free. We have always been very accepting, very open, and very positive. And to the extent that we maintain a social media presence in spite of some of those other environmental things, it is to continue to serve that message that we can maybe still be, a small bit of light in the darkness. It just becomes a question of how dark do things have to get before you go, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Well, I mean, hey, if worst comes to worst, guys, everybody just go to Goodreads. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man, it is so it is kind of like my new social media,
Okay.
And it's, you're not feeding your brain with anything bad. It's, it's reading, it's books, it's, people still do those things and should do those things. So, I mean, I recommend that for sure.
All right. Fair enough. So with all that being said, we're gonna wrap this up. So this episode is being released. It will be released on January 29th. So there'll still be about 2 weeks left in the Kickstarter, and we'll have links to it in the show notes so that you don't have to try and click or type anything out. But if you do go to Kickstarter, you just do a search for Horus in Hell. It's Horus in Hell 1-3. And then the next episode that we release to tie into the new Captain America movie will be about Thunderbolt Ross. And then I think we said after that is going to be the new interview series, Colleagues on the Couch, where we talk to mental health professionals. So we're finally dropping that. And then at some point later on in the next couple of weeks, we will be releasing the convention panel that we did last year about Discord from My Little Pony. We will get that out as well. And we've got some potential panels that we're working on and applications for cons this year because we did 3 last year. So I think I would like to see if we can maybe do 5 this year. I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And spread it out. And then, maybe at some point we can perhaps find our way down to good old West Virginia.
Well, we'll be here.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
Forever and always. Forever and ever and ever. Yeah.
So that's going to do it. Doc, you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I think we kind of already did it, but I'll say it anyway. If the world feels like hell, I do think we can learn a lesson because it's nice to be pink, cute, and fluffy, but make sure you stand up for yourself and show a bit of that aggression if you need to. And I don't mean the violence. I just mean standing up for yourself and being good to one another.
Hell yeah. So very well said. So once again, my friends, thank you so much. Love chatting with you as always. And looking forward to, another successful Kickstarter campaign and the next one and the next one and the next one after that. For Alan Dunford and Will Radford and the Inimitable Doc Issues, I'm Anthony Sitko. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you very soon.
Capes on the Couch podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Dr. Issues is a psychiatrist, but he is not your psychiatrist and does not have knowledge of your individual situation. For any personal mental health concerns, please consult your own healthcare providers. For medical emergencies, please call 911 or the designated number in your area immediately. Remember that you are not alone and help is out there.